He who excuses himself, accuses himself. Boris Johnson cast off's investigation, Labour noses around. Labour has urged a police watchdog to look again at its decision to rule out a criminal investigation into Boris Johnson following fresh claims by Jennifer Arcuri about their relationship while he was Mayor of London. Labour's deputy leader Angela Rayner said the diary entries merited a full investigation into whether Mr Johnson acted appropriately and the processes which led to around £126,000 of public funding being given to Ms Arcuri's businesses. The former model also accompanied Mr Johnson on several trade missions while he was in City Hall. The Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC, last year examined whether Mr Johnson should face a criminal investigation into misconduct, but found no evidence he influenced the payment of thousands of pounds to the US businesswoman's companies. A new inquiry by the IOPC would require a referral from Greater London Authority, GLA's monitoring officer. Labour has written to the monitoring officer to request that they refer the new evidence to the IOPC urgently. In her letter, Ms Rayner stated, "I am requesting that you refer this new evidence to the IOPC so they can look again at their decision to rule out a criminal investigation." She added, "These new revelations make a full investigation into the processes which led to public funding for Ms Arcuri's business, and her presence on publicly funded trade visits, more important than ever." However, the Conservatives again and again rejected a watchdog's call for Boris Johnson to be stripped of the power to decide whether ministers are investigated for sleaze, despite rising public anger. The Independent Committee on Standards in Public Life made the recommendation, followed by a startling warning that Britain risks slipping into becoming a corrupt country. It followed Mr Johnson's refusal to allow investigations of Robert Jenrick and Matt Hancock, a controversy then fueled by the botched attempt to fix anti-sleaze rules to clear Owen Paterson. But, despite the backlash and the Tories' slump in the polls, the party chair Oliver Dowden indicated there would be no rethink in Downing Street. It has been the case in the past, and will continue to be the case, that the Prime Minister has discussions with the independent advisor to determine whether to conduct those investigations, Mr Dowden. It is a basic principle that the Prime Minister ultimately has to be able to decide who is in his cabinet, the party chair argued. Mr Dowden also rejected the warning by Jonathan Evans, the head of the committee, of a slide into corruption, insisting, "I think we are an exceptionally long way from that." He also defended reopening the hunt for a chair of the media regulator Ofcom, in what is widely seen as an attempt to secure a job for former Daily Mail editor Paul Dacre, insisting only a very small field of eligible candidates had come forward. Criticism of Mr Johnson's refusal to apologise for the Paterson affair was semantics, he insisted, because he had acknowledged that mistakes had been made. Mr Dowden also claimed the public did not care about that refusal, because it wanted the government to be focusing on the job at hand, tackling the climate crisis and delivering booster jabs. 2 weeks ago, Lord Evans said the Prime Minister's advisor on ministerial interests, Christopher Gate, must have meaningful independence to carry out his job. The post holder should be appointed by a majority independent panel, not by number 10, able to initiate their own investigations and have the authority to determine breaches of the ministerial code, his report said. Reports should also be published within 8 weeks of submission to the Prime Minister, with sanctions for breaches set out, including apologies, fines and asking for a minister's resignation.